may take to the start here for the very first time. Looking down the inside of Jack Keatley as well, a touch of contact between the two. Still rubbing wheel to wheel. What a move! Fantastic stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, it really is time. The points are balanced on a knife's edge. Our competitors are ready to go. Just one final round in the season to tick off as we head to our typical finale point in the CUPRA SimRacing Series. It's, of course, the gear circuit in the southeastern part of the Macau Peninsula, typically hosting our final round of the season, and what a circuit it is. I love myself a good street circuit, but this is one that would frighten even the greatest of street circuit drivers. It's so challenging at the best of times, not to include when you throw in a championship finale, when you throw in the points, when you throw in months and months of work. It really does come down to one final round around one of the trickiest circuits you could possibly visit. It is then time for round 10 of 10 in the 2021 CUPRA SimRacing Series. I'm Lewis McGlade, delighted to be joined in the booth one final time in 2021 by Mr. Robert Wiesenmüller. Hello, welcome, and are we ready?
Hello everyone, hello Lewis. Yes, we are ready indeed, and look at the championship standings. It's really close at the front. Florian Hasse has a small gap, but then Fiduci, Pinsesh, Antonov, Barna all still within championship contention, and on this street circuit truly everything can happen.
Yeah, it really is absolute madness. Of course, the two season finales that we've had previous have had two very different times about them. The first one we came here, it was a tight championship fight. I think even a three-way fight in the championship that year. Alex Dornaden came out on top. Important for him to have ticked off the race win and the championship in race number one, though, because was involved in a crash in race two in 2019 and was retired from the race. If he hadn't sorted the championship out by that point, it might have even been day done on it. Thankfully, the year after, David Nosh had already had the championship sorted out by the time we reached the streets of Macau. Here's our entry list for the day, and of course we're keeping our eye mostly on the likes of Florian Hasse, of Gianmarco Fiduci, of course Adam Pinsesh as well, Kirill Antonov, you know, our championship rivals, but there are so many other drivers, so many other stories across the grid. Petr Pliška managed to top the pre-qualifying, coming into it just ahead of Florian Hasse and Alessandro Ottaviani. What a fantastic season it's been though, Rob, and like I say, a circuit like this is always the time for someone else who's maybe outside of the championship fight. This is when they can prove themselves, as we saw last year with Antonov.
Yeah, Antonov won both races last year. Well, there were two qualifying sessions and no top 10 reverse grid, so it was a bit different, but still he's looking very quick at the circuit. But Florian Hasse, much better in pre-qualifying than he usually is, so he seems to be prepared. He has never won a race at Macau. Maybe today is the first time, and he would need a good result here. Well, he can live with an average result as long as he doesn't crash, I guess. But yeah, the pressure will be high, especially with someone like Antonov really, really quick around the circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. And Florian Hasse made the most of last round, of course, taking a race win, second race win of the season for Florian Hasse. But if we move over into our focus on something which is so important for a day like today, which is qualifying, Florian Hasse has been the qualifying driver of the season, has had 3 pole positions, and most notably, the last time we came to this circuit at the end of 2020, it was Florian Hasse on pole position in race 1. So things are looking good for Florian Hasse, especially with him up there in pre-qualifying. He'll be feeling confident coming into this, but we were watching some of the, on the other service, some of the practice for qualifying. Gianmarco Fiduci is looking mighty fast at the moment.
Yeah, and before we get to the qualifying here, let's take a look what happened last time at the Bilsterberg. Let's see how they ended up in this championship position. And I think, Lewis, you've got the highlights for us.
Welcome to highlights from the penultimate round of the CUPRA SimRacing Series from the Bilsterberg. This time it would be Florian Hasse and Gianmarco Fiduci on the front row of the grid, with Pfeiffer and Pliška behind. Things starting to fall apart for Martin Barna in the championship, as he'd be outside of the top 10. Race 1 would begin with the drag around the curve of the first corner, with Florian Hasse holding the defensive line into the second corner. Gianmarco Fiduci would hold firm in second position, looking backwards towards Max Pfeiffer, but Florian Hasse was clear in the lead. Rasmus Salo had qualified quite well up inside the top 10. Unfortunately, though, with a bit of a mistake and a slowdown penalty, he would drop backwards down the order onto the cusp of the top 10. Pliska was aggressive on track limits and it would give him a slowdown penalty, dropping in behind Alessandro Ottaviani and Kirill Antonov, who'd both get through. Pliska would try and hold the position on Antonov, but it just wouldn't work. And then Antonov would be one of the first drivers to take to the skies over the curbs. Big up on two wheels, managed to land it and get on with it. Alluded to Martin Barner's poor qualifying. He was down the order and getting a slowdown as well, dropping back behind his teammate Ben Zupanek whilst also coming under fire. Alessandro Ottaviani would make a mistake of his own going through the chicane, allowing Kirill Antonov to drag up to the back of him and make a dive down into a fast corner. This, though, would give him the inside line through the penultimate section up towards the final corner, gifting him the position. Axel Vermeulen would make a little bit of a mistake just ahead of James Montgomery, running wide at the final corner, passing off the position for what is just inside the top 10. 9th position going the way of Montgomery and 10th to Vermeulen. Raikkonen would make this mistake just coming out of the mousetrap, and this would allow Pliska to make a move around the outside, just over the crest round the fast corner, gaining the position. Adam Pinsesh also would look to try and make a move, but wouldn't quite get close enough. Later in the lap, though, Pinsesh would get his opportunity with a bit of a mistake from Raikkonen. Pinsesh was through. Gianmarco Fiducci wasn't able to do anything about Florian Haase at the front, was trying everything he possibly could, trying to find a way past the German. Just wasn't going to happen. A late mistake from Ben Zupanek up onto two wheels, and he was out of the race. At the front, though, it was all about Florian Haase holding off the charges of Fiducci and Pfeiffer. Superb defensive resilience then from Florian Haase, and he'd take another win in the CUPRA SimRacing Series. The top 10 would be reversed, and Axel Vermeulen and James Montgomery would be on the front row looking for their first wins. The hungry young stars of the CUPRA SimRacing Series would get underway with their eyes fixed on the mirrors, focused on the charging big names behind, but Axel Vermeulen and Montgomery would hold firm at the front of the field. Pliska and Ottaviani would be side by side through the opening section, just trying to muddle their way through track position, and towards the end of the first lap, Vermeulen had already pulled out over a second on the chasing pack. Alessandro Ottaviani would open the door in the final corner to get past Pliska and up into 5th position. Pliska wasn't done with that, though, as he would fire it back down the inside at the second corner, and Kirill Antonov would be back involved in the mix, making contact with the rear end of Ottaviani. Kirill Antonov, though, wasn't waiting around, as he would dive down the inside of Alessandro Ottaviani to pick up 6th position and then focus his attention on Pliska. Adam Pinsesh was struggling to keep up with the top two, and a bit of a mistake running through the fast left-hander would open the door for Raikkonen to try and make a move. However, Raikkonen was a little bit too hot into the final corner, and he would run wide, handing the position back to Pinsesh. The damage on the front of Antonov's car was purely visual, with no real impact to performance, and that was being shown in the sense that he was attacking Pliska as hard as he possibly could. Raikkonen at the front of this group, and Antonov was going side by side with Pliska. A little bit of contact would open the door for Alessandro Ottaviani to try and sneak through on the pair of them, with a little bit of contact getting involved there, potentially even damaging Ottaviani's car. Pliska wasn't done with that, as he would pick up the position again, and then Gianmarco Fiducci fancied his time to get past Kirill Antonov. Wasn't quite done into the corner, which Antonov made the dive in. However, down into the mousetrap, the door was open and Fiducci was through. In the final parts of the race, though, it was Pliska making a move on Raikkonen. A fantastic, sensational move around the outside of the fast left-hander would leave them going side by side, even into the penultimate corner, as Pliska would make a mistake. It would be enough out of the final corner, but at the front, it was all about Axel Vermeulen, win number 1 in the CUPRA SimRacing Series. A superb victory then from Axel Vermeulen and James Montgomery. Adam Pinsesh joining them on the podium, with Gianmarco Fiducci, Kirill Antonov and Florian Haase, our championship protagonists, down the order.
Thanks a lot, Lewis. Yeah, that was some quite exciting racing there at the Bilsterberg track. We don't see so often, but now in Macau it won't get easier for the drivers.
No, absolutely not. We've spoken of names being made and such, of course, for Axel Vermeulen to have made a name there by winning the second race. Unfortunately, he isn't here with us in Division 1, as was taking part in Division 2 a little bit earlier, so wasn't quite fast enough to get into the top lot in qualifying. But you know what? That's okay. A driver which is showing great pedigree, of course, the second top 5 in the season. One driver we will see out in action, though, is James Montgomery, who we've got to say, that second place, absolutely superb drive from Montgomery to kind of close back up that gap and start applying the pressure again.
Yeah, fantastic race there from James Montgomery. Let's see if we have him here as well. There he is. And you can see that you just see one car, right? And that's because we run the special qualifying mode here, once again in Macau. And the same we ran at the Nordschleife as well, because otherwise the risk of traffic jams is just too high in the 12 minutes.
What a superb track this is, though. Look at this. We're just running around. This bit isn't that difficult until you get through that corner, really the second turn of the circuit, which is extremely difficult at Mandarin before we run down into Lisboa. This is where we're going to see a lot of the overtaking, Rob, is into here. Big dives we typically see them there, but it's a bit risky, it's a bit dangerous, especially with the walls.
Yeah, the walls are so close here. Ooh, and Montgomery already clipped one. It's really difficult to make a pass, but when you remember the 2019 race, for example, Alexander Dorniden secured the championship title by passing Bunky into this Lisboa corner, so it's definitely possible.
And it all tightens up here. Free maternity bend down into this just S section. It's so easy. I mean, those like street circuits that race things like Long Beach and Monaco and places like that, you kind of get used to the rhythm and stuff. Macau, it's just every corner. It's relentless in this field, but you do not get time to breathe. It's just a constant barrage of apexes that you've got to hit just late. See how late you had to hit that one? And there's a few like that around this circuit, most notably a little bit later on by the time we get to the hairpin. We'll get on that in just a moment. Through a couple of right-handers, we're heading towards that once again. A large hit onto the barrier from Montgomery. This is not looking like the cleanest lap. With it being such a long lap, they just don't get many opportunities.
No, that's right. And you can get away with clipping the wall a little bit, but if you clip it too hard, it might also invalidate your lap. Montgomery clips the wall again. I don't think this is a great lap from him. But always good to have a time on the board here. And look at this happen. Permanent yellow flag zone in the race. And here you can see why they just get around it.
Yeah, it's not many times in sim racing you'll see drivers putting in basically a full rotation of lock just to get through the corner. One-handed, you need to drive it like a bus, running through there into the penultimate corner and that run down into the final one. All these corners you just need to be smooth with, you need to be calm, you need to be relaxed with, because if you're driving it in too deep, there's such a long run out of the corner and you are definitely going to get past. Florian Haas, a championship leader then across the line. You can see he's already ready to escape and restart. Look at that. Florian Haas across the line. The time's only good enough for, well, a bit further down now. It looked like it was second. It's now down to sixth as Alessandro Ottaviani is topping the session right now.
What a surprise there from Ottaviani. He can't win the title anymore after he got into a little bit of a fight with Pliska and Antonov in the last race. We saw it on the highlights. But of course, he can still get a good result, and he's one of the true wildcards here that we mentioned before.
Yeah,
and Gilbert as well in P5.
Oh yeah, superb qualifying right now. To give you a bit of, by the way, of sort of a basis is what we're talking about when it comes to times around here. Of course, it's a little bit easy to be like, well, these are the times we're aiming for, but in a session like this, it's a bit different. The times we were seeing on the session previous, before we got into qualifying, Gianmarco Verducci managed to put in a 2:27.1, so 6/10 faster than we've seen from Ottaviani, 2/10 faster than we saw from the pre-qualifying, which is uncommon to see that kind of gap. Just clearly nailed it and wasn't on top in that session by very much. I'm pretty sure that was closely followed by a number of drivers in that session, including the likes of Kirill Antonov and Florian Haas. The thing is that lap time's all well and good to look for, but that's when you're driving around in effectively no risk in practice, when you can kind of do what you want. When in qualifying, you start to have to respect the track a bit more. You've got to be able to put in a couple of bankers before you can take the major risk.
Yeah, but I think Verducci has a banker there. P3 is not bad. And he's looking really quick. Of course, he's second in the championship standings, and the qualifying is important for two reasons. First of all, of course, you get your starting position. But then you can also get 10 points for the pole position. Verducci has a 25-point gap. Oh, and there's Gomez, the teammate of Verducci, up to P2.
Yeah, there we go. Fantastic qualifying from Juan Manuel Gomez right now. And if Verducci has aspirations of this title, he might be looking for some help from his teammates. Juan Manuel Gomez, remember them working together back at Spa, obviously, earlier in the season. Let's see what Verducci does through the hairpin. Maybe a little bit wide, but straightens it up nicely. You can see the Italians feeling fairly calm right now. I was having a little bit of a chat with him prior to their race, and I think he was saying that he's feeling confident, he's feeling pacey around this circuit, and we have seen that a couple of times from the Italian out to the penultimate corner, looking good in sector 1, looking good in sector 2 to go and beat Alessandro Ottaviani's time of a 2:27.7. Amazing to see the times being that close. 4 thousandths of a second is Gomez behind, so incredibly tight, and Martin Barner up there as well. Gianmarco Fiducci across the line as Kirill Antonov moves up at the provisional pole position, instantly defeated by Gianmarco Fiducci, who puts in a 27.6. Speaking of close margins, just a single thousandth faster than Kirill Antonov. Insane.
Crazy stuff there. And we mentioned that Antonov was going to be strong here. Look at this. 3 of the championship contenders right next to each other there. Hasse in P3, Barner is in P6, and Adam Pinsesh, he's in P22.
Yeah, I was trying to look for Pinsesh, of course. Driving for our large competition, a multiple race winner in the CUPRA SimRacing Series, just not this season, yet to take a race win in 2021. I'd say that 22nd might be a little bit of a tall order to take a race victory from, so desperately needs to get on with it. And again, reminder, typical thing that we always speak of in RaceRoom, that once the session's done, the session's done. We hit 0, we move on straight into race 1. So there's only really got another couple of opportunities, has Adam Pinsesh around this circuit. So really high pressure on his shoulders. All these drivers at the front, Fiducci, Antonov, Haase, Ottaviani, Gomez, they've all put times on the board that are competitive, that are good, that are comfortable. Now they can start taking risks. Now they can start playing with fire a little bit more and seeing what they can really get out of this car without worrying about putting in a banker lap.
Fiducci and Hasse are all purple in the first sector. So is Pliska, so is Barner, Santa Guida, Pfeiffer and Montgomery. So the first sector from Fiducci wasn't the best.
No, not. Let's see Florian Hasse looking very, very strong the last few rounds. Just seems to get stronger and stronger. Has been Mr. Consistency over the running of 2021. There are other drivers that have been faster than Florian Hasse. I mean, you can argue Kirill Antonov, a 3-time race winner, Alessandro Ottaviani, 2-time race winner, Fiducci, 2-time race winner. There are a lot of race winners on this grid, but there's something about how Haas's approach is, very similar into the same way that Fiducci has. It's the fact that they're always roughly inside the top 5. If they're not in the top 5, they're 6th, 7th or 8th. They very rarely finish lower than that. And that's why they're contending for the title. Yeah, this is looking good for Haase.
This is looking really good. I think Fiducci is not purple anymore.
Oh, Pliska.
Pliska 0.4.
Wow.
And there you see it. Hasse's not purple anymore because the time from Pliska was so fast.
But right now, Florian Haase doesn't need to worry about Pliska, just needs to worry about Fiducci and Antonov. Let's see what it is out of the final corner. Florian Haase to cross the line to try and move up at least onto the front row of the grid. Is he going to do so? Yes, he is. It is up into second position, a 10th off of Pliska's fantastic 2:27.4. Sensational lap time right now from the Italian. Gianmarco Fiducci did manage to improve, but it was only by 0.04 of a second to pull him a bit further clear of Kirill Antonov. And they are all, Rob, beginning what will potentially be their last lap. If they escape in the next, let's call it 20 seconds, they'll be able to start one more lap time. But we are really talking about the thick end of this qualifying session. Adam Pinsesh has improved, but only to 20th.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Adam Pinsesh. Of course, he's still 3rd in the championship. But like this, it will be hard to hold when you see where Antonov is and even where Barner is. We asked the people on Twitter who's going to win the championship, and Fiducci got the most votes.
Really?
Yeah. That was not expected. He didn't even expect it himself, he said. He said, these people are crazy voting for me, but let's ask the chat as well. Who's going to win this title here? 25 points lead for Hasse, of course, but you can see Fiducci is pretty close here, so feel free to type it into the chat. I think my money is on Hasse, though.
If a wise man's money would be on Florian Hasse, knowing of his consistency, but it only takes one issue to turn that around, to stop that, to really change fortunes in this championship. So you never really know, especially when he's fighting with those championship rivals, Fiducci and Antonov right beside him, as they're going to be beginning race 1. If they stay in these current positions, Gianmarco Fiducci, those obviously not settling for 3rd position. He desperately wants to get himself on the front row to make it an all-Italian front row. Yet again, I mean, we've seen that a few times, at least when it comes to their pre-qualifying, we've seen the Italians up there. I remember a few rounds ago when it was 1, 2, 3 and 4 in pre-qualifying, of course, Pliska, Fiducci, Ottaviani and then Gianpietro was up there if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's in P9 at the moment, so finally a good round from Vanieri here. On the actual server as well, he was struggling a little bit with that. But yeah, Fiducci, with this result, especially now that Gomez has pipped him by 1,000, he would lose another 4 points to Hasse.
Yeah. Which are points he can ill afford to lose. But look at this coming in from Gianmarco Fiducci. Purple in the second sector as he is going for pole position right now. This could be a real turning point in the title race. If he can grab that, it would be a little point swing, absolutely, but every single point at this end of the season really matters. What does Fiducci do? He's just behind his teammates, all Team Fordzilla on row number 2.
No!
A little bit wide. Oh, and he lost it, and you see how angry Gianmarco Fiducci is. Annoyed at himself as he crosses the line. But I'm going to say, Rob, that would have been pole position.
Oh, that looked like pole position, and the camera was not frozen. He was just sitting there in disbelief about his own mistake. Oh my goodness. Antonov still on a lap, I think.
That is rough. Not looking super strong in the second sector, though, from Kirill Antonov. Already a couple of tenths down as he heads into the final section of racetrack. Adam Pinsech did manage to improve, but only to 14th position. Things are looking good for Pliska. Things are looking even better for Florian Haase, though, from second position, looking to really command his championship right now. All Team Fordzilla on row number 2, so potentially Juan Manuel Gomez could help out his teammate Gianmarco Fiducci. Antonov, Ottaviani behind in 5th and 6th position, with Pfeiffer, Barner, Rakel and Vanieri rounding out the top 10 as we head into the season finale, and race 1 coming up just after this. And so it potentially swings more and more into the favour of the German of Florian Haase, starting from position number 2 with the points lead and pulling out an extra few points on his closest championship rival, Gianmarco Fiducci. We are all set, Rob, for a thrilling championship finale.
Yeah, this will be exciting.
Just don't know which way it's going to swing, though. That's the problem. We do not know. We're about to get ready, though, to go racing for the penultimate time in 2021. The CUPRA SimRacing Series returns to Macau, the same track that we've visited every single time we've finished one of these seasons over the last 3 years, as we'll get ready to go. Petr Pliska and Florian Haase on the front row, Gomez and Fiducci behind, a championship to settle. It is going to begin now on the streets of Macau. We are underway. A drive-through penalty already dished out to Balázs Nagy, but look at that superb start from Pliska. Gomez trying to allow Fiducci to pass immediately as he try and cut off Kirill Antonov as well. All on the run down towards Mandarin for the first time. Pliska's defensive, but not taking an ideal line through this very, very fast right-hander where risks will be taken. You can see already going too wide in the background. Gomez and Antonov. Antonov in the wall. Antonov has touched that wall, and now Alessandro Ottaviani's coming through the middle. There's chaos, and Juan Manuel Gomez is round right in front of the entire pack. His day will be absolutely done right now, and you can see coming through Max Pfeiffer and Antonov battling out of the background as Martin Barner's finding his way through.
Crazy start. We knew what we could expect from Macau, and it delivered right in the second corner there. Gomez already out, and Pliska still in the lead of the race.
Wow, drama already. Pliska leads from Haase from Fiducci. As we started this race, Fiducci up 1 position from all of that, but that was a chaotic start indeed. Started really through turn 2 between Gomez and Kirill Antonov. I'm not sure which way that would go, but it's such a risky corner on the circuit to be going side by side. And look at the championship rivals battling it out over second position. Haase with Fiducci directly behind. Fiducci's applying the pressure, allowing the Italian of Pliska to pull away right now. This is looking fantastic for Pliska, but for the Italian of Fiducci, he will be devastated. Let's go with that. You know, a big word, yes. Oh, Pliska's into the wall a little bit there. devastated a little bit from qualifying. It was looking like it could have been pole position from the Italian of Fiduci. That might give him that extra fire, though, to really go on the attack in this race.
Yeah, standings here updated. This is after qualifying points, so not counting in the current positions in the race. You can see Hasse with a big lead. Pincer still holding on to third.
Yellow flags out, of course, going into the hairpin, so no overtaking down there, no insane risks. I mean, it's always one where you kind of go, oh god, I could dive down there, and it's never really a wise option to go for. Fiduci still behind Florian Hasse. Speaking of issues at the hairpin, everyone being very calm though and respecting. No J-turns in the CUPRA SimRacing Series. Did see that in WTCR a couple of years ago in the WTCR Esports Championship. And Rasmus Salo, big damage.
Yeah, and look at the gap. He must have caused the traffic jam there. He's 6 seconds behind Rechel.
Yeah, there is. I mean, that we had this with Kirill Antonov last round where we were wondering if the damage on the front end was desync, and obviously it was. That is not desync. That is genuine damage, especially with that gap that's been built, as Adam Pinsesh has picked up a couple of positions up into 11th spot, and we'll see if Florian Hasse is under a lot of pressure. Look at how close Gianmarco Fiduci was to the wall on the exit there. I think he might well have brushed it on the run down towards Lisboa. 1.1 second to lead from Pliszka. Is Gianmarco Fiduci going to make a dive? The answer to that question is no, but he's coming under increasing pressure from Kirill Antonov as well. 2-time race winner around this circuit. 5-time race winner in the CUPRA SimRacing Series. If memory serves, he is second on the all-time winners list is Kirill Antonov, and that has happened over basically a season until this point. He's been phenomenal over the last 12 months. Gianmarco Fiduci going into maternity bend, looks all over the place, still trying to find a way past the German. No option yet, and potentially from this point, no real option until we reach the start-finish straight and then that run down towards Lisboa again.
Maybe we can see some passes in the final sector, but here in the infield section, it's really only possible if the driver ahead makes a mistake. But a mistake is so easy to come by on this track. You can see position changes there in the background. Ottaviani's just gone past Sado, who's got the damage. And that's great news for Pinsesh, who's just one position away from the reverse grip pole at the moment.
Yeah, and he will desperately need that right now. I'd still suggest that the chances of Adam Pinsesh winning the championship after qualifying that low, losing out in the qualifying session from the points that were on offer there, losing out the points that were on offer. Yes, there could be high drama in the final race of the season, but I think there'd be too much damage. There'd be too much of a gap for Pinsesh, the Hungarian. And it could well be championship done, but not day done. You still can end the season on a high by winning that final race, and that will definitely be the goal of Adam Pinsesh. Won the first race of 2020, looking to win the final one of 2021, but that is a thing to be dealt with on another time. We've still got 20 minutes left of the first race to go. Santa Guida, James Montgomery all over the rear end, as you can see how they are nose to tail. I think there was a bit of a clip of the barrier from Luciano Wittfurt running through there. I think it was one of the Bauer Esports cars that smashed the barrier just a little bit on the inside there. Super tight through that hairpin. I've never figured it out myself, how to get through there quickly.
Yeah, we tried a lot with the handbrake in the past, but it never really paid off. So it's just about turning in at the exact right moment, and there's a little bump on the road, and if you're already turned in, it kind of helps you around the corner. So it is definitely possible, even on the default setup, to get around there, but that's not the easiest corner.
Who was it who did the J-turn in WTCR Esports?
Oh, I think it was Alex Roman.
I think, yeah, it was one of the French drivers. I don't remember which one it was. Might well have been Fremont, but it was a fantastic J10. Going out of there, just clipped the barrier a little bit too much, spun him around, and he held up the entire grid whilst he did a reverse. Nice little flick spin as Fiduci still sat behind as we ride on board with the bravest helicopter pilot in all of esports action, flying around this city here as Gianmarco Fiduci now needs to focus backwards on Kirill Antonov as the hungry Russian is sat there. These two, remember, they came together last round as well, running down into the mousetrap. Will they come together again this afternoon with 90 minutes left of this race, with them being separated by absolutely nothing? I wouldn't necessarily be ruling it out.
No, it's definitely possible. Meanwhile, Pinsesh up to P10.
Oh my goodness me, just behind that with Bent Zupanek diving it down the inside of James Montgomery, but now he's got Santa Guida right involved in the middle of that, and he's going to get pushed out into the wall by Gilbert as well. Little bit chaotic as they're still going to stay side by side. Gibert's just going to back out of it, but it allows Luciano Wittfurt to come through. Pushing him into the wall a little bit was the Dutchman, but does manage to pick up the position, and now Marvin Mackenberg is in the train.
Both of the Mackenbergs racing here. Oh, big contact to the wall there from Superneck. That was a hard hit. And Whitford was all over the back of him immediately.
Superneck not looking quite as strong as we've seen him before in the CUPRA SimRacing Series. Another one of those drivers that's won a couple of races in 2021, of course, with that race win back at Spa, and also a couple of rounds ago at Monza as well. Remember, he was contending for the race win when we went to Aragon as well, but that one was dished out by Gianmarco Fiduci that day in a superb race, a superb finale, as things almost, I mean, you say, I'm going to say calming down, but for a few of these drivers, things are fairly calm. Max Pfeiffer's just driving around by himself, same with Martin Barner. Little bit into the wall, though, in the background was Raikkonen, who was just trying to chase down Vigneri, who's made decent progress from 10th position up into 7th.
Yeah, but Vigneri has been in the wall as well. Look at the big dent at the front of his car. That doesn't look new. Good performance from him, though, and of course, because of the traffic jam, they are pretty much safe in the top 8. There's no way anyone can catch up this 8.4 second gap.
Still close, but still just not quite close enough, running through the very fast right-hander of Mandarin. Now we'll see if Fiduci's close enough to try anything. You can see him closing and closing and closing, edging away at that gap painfully so. Still just no opportunity for him to do anything. Kirill Antonov, though, fancying something, was giving it a bit of a look down the inside. Once again pokes out before we head into T4 and then start rising up the hill. Not able to get through right now. Again, it's such a difficult track to overtake at, despite the enormous straightaways from the penultimate corner, round the final corner, round the first corner, round Mandarin as well. Look at that from Antonov, though. He is leaving nothing. He knows that it's hard to overtake around here. He's looking, regardless, any opportunity for a switch of position.
Yeah, we spoke to some of the drivers after the last race, and many of them said it's very frustrating to race against Antonov because he's always right at the rear bumper. He's always looking for every opportunity, even if it doesn't make sense. And it's so hard because you constantly have to drive a defensive line, even in corners where no, well, they said no reasonable person would attack. But Antonov always finds a way, and sometimes it works, but it's very risky, of course.
Yeah, I feel for Fiduci here. I've had to defend for some THR drivers in my time. It sounds very similar. Oh dear. Of course, you know, all of this style of racing is all about the highest level of intensity, and some drivers approach it in different ways. Kirill Antonov, the way he approaches it is 100% all of the time, and nearly got alongside departing the hairpin. That was pretty close indeed. It's provided a slight gap, a slight reprieve for Florian Haase. Not quite the largest reprieve on the circuit. I think Pliska's in just comfort zone. He's basically on holiday at the moment as he leads by 2.5 seconds around this gear circuit. Still pulling away for Bass Esports, looking for his 3rd race win of the season. It'll be his first race 1 win of 2021, showing how impressive the Italian is and how much faster he's getting.
Yeah, we didn't really have him on the list when the season started. Didn't know what to expect. He didn't participate in the last season, just made 1 Esports WTCR start, so he wasn't the most experienced driver coming into this championship. But he really has proven himself and put Ballas Esports on the map as well. Oh, look at this. Yeah,
Fiduci was defending there. Going into Mandarin, he's under an awful lot of pressure, as there was a little bit of a wall tap there from Kirill Antonov. You can see, just watch Gianmarco Fiduci's eyes looking in his mirror, shaking of the head, not impressed by the attacking Russian directly behind him. I'm sure he's more so getting frustrated that the gap between himself and Florian Haase is growing and growing and growing. But that looked like Florian Haase into the barrier just a little bit there as they start rising up the hill. Might have been a light brush, but a tap is a tap.
Yeah, and speaking of taps, I think what the other drivers were mentioning about Antonov, you could see it in the hairpin. I mean, there's a permanent yellow flag zone, and Antonov still goes into the back of Fiduci there. And of course he doesn't take the position, he doesn't pass him, but it costs Fiduci time, and that's the stuff that really, you know, gets to you as a driver, that really frustrates you, and especially Fiduci after making the mistake in the qualifying there, throwing away the pole position. I guess he is, you know, he's feeling the pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of have to ask, what can Gianmarco Fiduci do right now? Can he get by? If he can't get by, what are the options? Does he have to just sit in 3rd and accept the damage on the title race and see that it really is an outside chance heading into the final race of the season?
I think he has to try it. He has to try to
He's
get past
got to.
Hasse. Because
Absolutely.
then it's Antonov versus Hasse. And the gap will just be too big. He's losing points again. Hasse can pretty much drop to the back of the field then in the next race and just finish anywhere and secure the title if he stays ahead of Fiducci in this race. They all go into the back of each other. This time Antonov lost a lot of time. Looked like he had a lot of wheel spin.
See how unhappy Fiducci is with that. If anyone can lip read, especially in Italian, I think there might be some choice words from Fiducci at the moment, heading the way of the Russian of Antonov. Rivalries are very much forming here in the CUPRA SimRacing Series, as we'll focus our attention once again. The reason we're keeping our eye on this is it's the championship fight happening there. Pliska's not a part of that as we approach the halfway point of the race, crossing the line with 12 minutes and 30 seconds bob on across the line. I think we'll still get that sort of one extra lap as we typically do around here.
They didn't get it in the second server, so let's see. But I think the pace from Pliska is strong enough.
Just about there. Obviously gone from a standing start, so it's quite close now, but it should get a little bit further and further. I think they will be getting that
that's not a good corner from Hasse.
We'll see if Fiducci can make something stick. He's got to take a risk. He's got to just be brave enough. You can see the semi-defense from Hasse to the inside, especially whilst Fiducci hasn't got any pressure from behind as Antonov's dropped back. Just brushed the wall a little bit on turning, just getting as far over to what would be the left-hand side of the racetrack. Hasse's under a lot of pressure now, and you can see that visually just looking at Florian Hasse right now. You can feel the pressure that he is under. You can feel the pressure that Fiducci's under. Where is this bold move going to come from Fiducci? You're absolutely right. He wants to get through, not only to start clearing off some points, but to try and get Florian Hasse under pressure, try and get him flustered, try and get him in the wake of Kirill Antonov as well.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're Fiducci there, you make an attack on Hasse. You know, what's Hasse gonna do? He's gonna move out of the way because he knows the championship as well. You can run a risky move against someone who's fighting in the championship because he's not gonna defend like crazy.
Yeah, it's not an easy one. I mean, I agree with you. Like, if Gianmarco Fiducci is destined for this title, it has to be a crazy move, one that, you know, if for anyone who remembers back to 2015, I think it was, V8 Supercars, might be the season after, the season before, but it was at Surfers Paradise, and it was the move that Scott McLaughlin did on Mark Winterbottom.
Yeah, I remember it,
yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, he didn't really intend to do that move, but it was a crazy move that Mark Winterbottom just got out of the way of. He just got out of the way because he couldn't fight it. And that's the move that we kind of need to see from Gianmarco Fiducci right now if he's going to clear Florian Hasse. It needs to be risky. He needs to put everything on the line, because if he doesn't, the championship's gone anyway. Don't get me wrong, second position still pretty decent in the title, still pretty decent for points, still pretty decent for ego, still pretty decent prize money as well.
Is he going to get second though? I mean, Antonov right behind him, Pinsash gets reversed into the pole position if it finishes like this. I think there are a lot of reasons to go for a move. Barne here, he's got very low chances of winning this championship, so he's just watching there, sitting back, waiting for some drama.
I think Fiducci was a little bit wide there in the penultimate corner, just seeing him in the distance, but still deep in the slipstream of Florian Hasse as we run around the first corner towards Mandarin once again. 10 minutes left on the clock. If he clears it now, the great thing about now would be is that then there's 10 minutes of them defending backwards. This is looking good. Oh, this is looking really good from Gianmarco Fiducci through Mandarin. Still very, very close, defending all the way over to the right-hand side. What can Gianmarco Fiducci do as he's pulled Florian Hasse down? Or is he going to go for the undercut? Is he going to try and go all the way around the outside? It's bold, it's risky, there's the wall there as well. It's super close, and Kirill Antonov is looking to the inside. He's committed, he's sent it down there, he's made contact, and Fiducci is not happy. And the fact that the Russian just really wasn't there, he feels.
Yeah, do we need any more proof to these comments about Antonov always sticking his nose in? That was a perfect example, and I get why Fiducci is frustrated, because he has to drive perfectly again to catch up to Hasse there. He had a good opportunity. Hasse was driving very fair there, was leaving the room. And then Antonov, of course, Antonov wants to get past Fiducci as well. They are, you know, he wants to have the second place in the championship at least. Yeah. So if there's an opportunity, he has to take it as well. But that's not a good position for Fiducci to be in, right there in the middle.
No, because he's stuck behind a driver that knows how to defend and stuck in front of a driver that knows how to attack. And it's honestly, from being in that, from having the light experience of being in that position, not quite with the championship on the line, but even still in just in general touring car racing, I'm sure you've had it yourself, Rob. It's not fun. It really isn't. It is so frustrating, and the problem is that frustration builds and builds and builds, and it can get worse and worse and worse as the evening goes on. Decent exit though for Fiducci, but every time he builds a slight gap to Kirill Antonov, it's detonated by the time they hit to Lisboa, because for one, the slipstream, and for two, I think Fiducci, I think Fiducci, Antonov, Barna, I think they're all a little bit faster than Florian Haase right now. Testament to the gap that Pliska's built.
Yeah, Pliska is really flying here. He's going full attack. Just wants to have this race win there, and I think he's just going for fastest lap all the time. But Hasse is not very strong in the second corner. And that's good for Fiducci, because that gives him a realistic chance to pass in a corner where it's actually possible to fit two cars. Now this time he's too far back, but we might see it once again that Hasse is losing time in the next corner. Let's go maybe to the front of his car. This corner that we're coming up to here. Let's see. There's Fiducci. Bigger, 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 always getting bigger. That's just because he's more committed in the corner. It was the same with Dorniden and Banki in 2019 in the title fight there. This was exactly the place where Dorniden made the pass. And I think it's possible for Fiducci as well, but he needs to make it stick in the corner. He can't wait to get a cutback or anything, because then Antonov is just going to be there putting his car into any possible gap.
I think, realistically speaking, Fiducci needs to be closer going through Mandarin, going through that second corner. He just needs to be right there. He's looking though down into maternity, still not there. Looking once again one way, then the other, trying to find his way through. Now he's got Kirill Antonov knocking at the door once more, and will cease his eyes on the rear end, and will just sit there and wait now, not taking any major risk. But you're absolutely right, that run down into Lisboa is really the best opportunity around the circuit. It is, obviously it's the end of a long straight. The problem with it is that it's relatively easy to close off, in the sense that the exit of the corner is so very, very tight. You just hold it nicely to the inside, you brake comfortably, you get through the corner, and you just run out to the wall, and that's what they all do. And it just holds the position, even if you don't run out to the wall, even if you give like a nice comfortable gap, as we know Florian Haase does, the gentleman driver that he is. You've got the inside for the next corner as well, if you hold that line. So it's quite an easy one to defend into, as long as you're up to date with it, and that's why Fiducci needs to be right there, sat right on the rear end of Florian Haase, going through the first corner, basically pushing him into turn 2, trying to force the mistake.
Once again, Hasse is just too strong here on the exit of the hairpin. Fiducci is not close enough. More time looking at Petr Pliska, so maybe we can get a clear picture how many laps we still have in this race. But I think with this pace, it's looking like there are 3 more laps. For sure.
He's looking good.
Yeah.
You were saying before about Division 2 going for 12. I'm pretty sure every time we've gone racing here, we've done 11-lap races in Division 1. And we are definitely getting an 11-lap race here based on Pliska's pace right now. Incredible. It really is.
Brief opportunity to focus on the other drivers. Valen Soboslai made a few starts in Division 1, and now he's right behind Ben Supanek, who looks like he's losing the 9th position championship battle against Max Pfeiffer. But still top 10 finish, that's still in the money, so Supanek should be happy with that. Not the greatest round here though, and a bit further ahead, there's a close battle between Michael Rechel and Gianpietro Vinieri.
Yeah, Gianpietro Vinieri, we've not really seen up there. We've never seen him inside the top 5. As once again running through Lisboa, they're close for second, but not close enough. As really, it's you want to say it's 4 cars in this battle. I just don't think Barna's really got the pace of Antonov and Fiducci. He's only really brought into it based on the fact that they're all fighting. As we go back down the order, Shubanek versus Szoboszlai, and a little bit of a dive to the inside, rather holding it is Luciano Wittfurt from Santa Guida. That was very, very close. Room was given from the Dutchman though, as Mihai Neg, and going on the attack of Sven Mackenberg down the inside, and no position from the German, but close stuff indeed. Again, it's what we see. We see the attack going down into Lisboa, but it doesn't really have that much of a reward from every time we see it raced. Haase though, this is the part of the track though, you brought it up, This is the part of track where he's so good. He bounced off the wall here, remember, not that long ago. But it's really from like this corner through both the hairpins. He's just so good right now. And it's just causing too much of a problem for those behind.
The hairpin is such an important corner on this track anyway, because you can really back up the driver right behind you as well.
Fiduci's closer than normal though as we run through.
Look how much time he loses because he just can't go on the throttle. There's just Hasse's car in between. This time he's close enough to probably attempt to move into the spoiler though.
Yeah, obviously the slipstream will be affecting for the next few kilometres to allow Gianmarco Fiduci to potentially close up to his main championship rival into the wall. Just a little bit there, just a brush of the wall. Well, it's more of a hit rather than a brush. That was pushing it a bit too much for the penultimate corner into the final corner. Little dab of the brakes you could spot there from Florian Haase. Again, straight out to the wall.
And Antonov has really calmed down. He has not attacked Fiduci at all. Maybe Antonov knows as well that his only chance is if these two come together. He can't really gain that much. But let's see now here in the corner if Fiduci is going to gain a lot of time once again.
He's closer than he's been for quite a while.
Nice corner from him.
Very, very nice indeed. Is he going to get straight to the inside? No, Florian Haase has covered it off really nicely. Gianmarco Fiduci back to the outside. I'm not feeling so confident about this. He's got to go all the way around. He is going all the way around. He's thrown it all the way in. Is he going to hit the wall? Oh, it's so close. So close indeed. Room was just about given.
Yeah, I think it was fair from both drivers there. Fiduci really tried, but on the outside it's just tough. And that doesn't help his chances, because now Hasse knows he can defend against him. Ooh, something happened a bit further back.
Ooh,
I think Ottaviani made contact with the wall there.
Yeah, big contact, because now Pinsesh and Montgomery are right there. Now, Pinsesh is under attack from Montgomery, and this is for 10th place. We're on the penultimate lap. That timer looks very, very close, but this will be the penultimate lap of the race. Whether they know that or not is a very different story, because they might be thinking it's the final one. But it's pretty tight here. With it being 10th, that's the reverse grid spot for the next race. And so if Montgomery can get down the inside, he'll be starting from pole position for the final race of the season, which I don't think Adam Pinsesh would be particularly fond of.
No, Pinsesh really needs the 10th position, needs to be in the reverse grid. Kind of want to see it, but I don't want to cut away here.
No, absolutely not.
I think we have to stay here.
Championship contenders continue to battle it out, going into the hairpin for the penultimate time of the race.
Oh, Fiduci, that was great from Fiduci.
Really nice, very, very close. This is going to be tight from Fiduci, and I think Haase. The thing is for Haase right now is that he will know right now that he is going to be under a lot of pressure into Lisboa. A little bit too deep from Fiduci though, and that will help him. That gap's growing. And that was a mistake that Fiduci could ill afford. 10 seconds left on the clock as Pliska departs the final corner across the line to start the final lap of this race. Tight stuff indeed. Pliska doing what Antonov did last season, to be perfectly honest, is just come here to Macau and is absolutely dominating. Not in it for the championship, not in it for anything else. He's just in it from himself and looking for his third race win of the season. Fantastic
Hassel's slowing
stuff.
down. Hasse was lifting here. He's trying to back up Fiduci before he gets through the corner so he doesn't get a slingshot.
And it's worked as well, I think. I think it might well have worked. Fiduci's close, but obviously had to back out of it. Smart driving there from Florian Haase. Brave driving there from Florian Haase. As Fiduci's in, maybe a little bit too deep. He's going to hit the wall. He's going in way too hard. And Fiduci into the barrier. He had to take the risk. He felt he had to do it. That is a shame. That is a shame for Gianmarco Fiduci. Still, though, with the damage,
can he bring it home with this damage?
Round inside the top 10.
Kudos for trying.
It was brave.
He knew he had to do it. He tried to pull it off. Now he can just hope that he can bring his car home. But that's great news for Florian Hasse. We have Chris, Captain Coffee, on the point, so he will tell us pretty soon if it's already enough. I don't think so, because of Antonov. But yeah, kudos for trying for Fiduci there. It was a great attempt, but unfortunately it didn't work out this time.
it'll be as near as makes no difference. One hand on the trophy, maybe even you could classify it as just about two. At least the fingers of the second hand are on the trophy for Florian Haase right now. Bravery from Fiduci, that is one thing that has not been missing from this Macau round. And should he finish in 8th position, maybe 9th, maybe 10th, then I think he'll be pretty happy and looking, or not happy, that's definitely the wrong word to use, but at least looking forward to the final race of the season where there might be a race victory on the cards. That one will be a hotly contested race victory indeed, though.
Oh, look at the line from Hasse. It's all about the exit. It's all about the exit. He didn't want to allow Antonov any chance, and I think it worked perfectly.
Yeah, superb stuff from Florian Haase. A genius to back up as well in through turn 2 just to halt the progress. Shows how much of a smart driver that Florian Haase is. We'll ignore the championship for a few moments as we'll focus our attention to Peter Plisker and give him the applause that he deserves as he departs the final corner in dominant fashion here at Macau. Whilst all the championship rivals were squabbling, he was running away. Race victory to the Italian here at the penultimate race of the season, and Florian Haase, smile on his face. That was a hard-fought second place as he crosses the line to potentially move one step closer to the 2021 title. Claps from Gianmarco Fiduci. I don't think, honestly, Rob, we could have asked for much more from Fiduci there. He tried absolutely everything, not only to attack Haase, but to defend from Antonov. A superb drive, but unfortunately it all fell apart on the final lap. Down into 8th position, but still in a good spot for the reverse grid. Ottaviani and Pinsesh will be on the front row for the final race of the season. Very important for Pinsesh. Bit of a shame for James Montgomery, you got to say.
Yeah, you came very close, and you could see how fast he is if he's in the reverse grid last time out. Anyway, Peter Plisker, of course, fastest lap as well. 28.1 in the race, that's very good. Winning the race ahead of Florian Hasse, then Kirill Antonov. Bana in 4th position, Max Pfeiffer in 5th place. We didn't really talk about him, and with his best result ever in the CUPRA SimRacing Series, Gianpietro Vinieri in P6.
Yeah, a superb race once again, the penultimate race of the season. Of course, we will be resetting the timer with 25 minutes left on it and getting ready to go once more. The season finale will be coming up after this. Well, it doesn't feel like that long ago when we began the 2021 season, but after a run around the entire esports world, heading to Germany 4 times across the season, of course ending our journey here at Macau, we're getting ready for the 20th and final race of this absolutely fantastic season, Rob, that's had so many twists and turns, so much craziness, and to be perfectly honest, very little in the terms of domination across the season. It's been up and down from just about everyone.
I think it's been a fantastic season because it's been so close. We've seen so many different race winners, so many great performances here, but it's not over yet. One more race to go, and let's take a look at the championship standings.
Absolutely. Florian Haase then 40 points clear heading into the final round, final race of the season. Fiduci behind, Kirill Antonov just separated by 3 points, but with Fiduci starting from what will be 3rd position, things are looking good at least for the Italian to try and secure himself 2nd position. Adam Pinsesh starting from reverse grid pole though, he might have something to say about that indeed. Kirill Antonov though did move up inside the top 3 of the standings as well. Of course, that's not the only positions we're focused on, is it?
Pinsesh can't win the championship anymore because Hasse's got 2 wins, and even if Hasse DNFs and Pinsesh wins, they're tied on points. So Pinsesh is the first one who's out. Well, Bana is out as well. Fiduci and Antonov could still do it, but of course the odds are against them.
They require a bit of good fortune from them and terrible fortune for Florian Haase. I'd say it's one hand, and I'll go with 2 fingers on the other hand on the trophy from the German right now for Der Esports.
But he has to get through the race.
Yes.
He just has to survive.
Absolutely.
And he's starting in, what is it? P9, right?
Yeah, it'd be 9th place because just behind there, oh, just in front rather of Pliska. It's in the danger zone. I remember we brought it up earlier in the broadcast, back in 2019, when Alexander Dorneden won the championship. He won the championship in race 1. Going into race 2, though, had a retirement fairly early. I think it was lap 2 or 3 going through turn 1. There was an enormous crash. He was involved in it.
Christian Johasch, I still remember it. He was flying all over the track.
It was a highly dramatic moment. If that had happened whilst Dorneden was still in title, the title hadn't been wrapped up, we could have been talking about a very different championship, and potentially the same things apply to this race. Florian Haase must remain clean, which, let's be honest, look at lap 1 of race 1 when, of course, we had Kirill Antonov and Juan Manuel Gomez coming together at turn 2 on the first lap of the race. Anything can happen here at Macau. Absolutely anything. So let's be honest, as much as it is a saying, don't count your chickens just yet, because we never know what's going to happen as we head into the final race of the season.
Yeah, we're just loading into the race. Let's hope we still make it until the start.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. We certainly will. It does mean, though, we're going to have a nice front row of the grid. Of course, Alessandro Ottaviani, Adam Pincech looking for their race wins. A final race win of the season for Alessandro Ottaviani. Could be a first race win of the season. The final race from Adam Pincech. Gianmarco Fiducci is also looking to end the season on a high as we get ready to go for the final race of the 2021 CUPRA SimRacing Series. Out of the first corner, we are going to have Adam Pincech leading from Ottaviani and Fiducci as well. But you've got to keep your eye a few cars back in that back, of course, towards Florian Haase. You had Petr Pliska already pulling out of line. They're going single file just about now. Raikkonen trying to attack Fiducci at the moment as Antonov gets a bit of a hit there. That was a little bit dodgy for Martin Barner going through turn 2, going through Mandarin for the first time. Barner's trying to attack Pfeiffer. Barner's down the inside. Fiducci's looking at Ottaviani. No position changes, no real risk up towards the top, but it's Pfeiffer and Barner. There is your championship leader, still in 9th place with a decent gap ahead. He isn't taking any risks, Rob.
No, he survived the first corner there. I think he did everything right there at the start. And Adam Pincech, he's now really trying to secure his potential second place in the championship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Antonov and Pfeiffer.
That's going to be a feisty, fisticuffed duel between those two. But Antonov's down the inside looking for a bold one. Now, this could be a little bit of a concern to Florian Haase watching this happen, because we know the attacking style of Kirill Antonov, and he was not pulling any punches there on Pfeiffer, the German defending for all he's worth at the moment and keeping the Russian behind at the moment. But naturally speaking, for Florian Haase, he'll be sat there thinking, please don't do anything too ridiculous. Kirill, I really could do with you just having a nice calm race this time.
He's got Pliska behind him, of course, fastest driver on this track today, that can be said for sure. And then Rasmus Salo, who hit a bit of trouble in the first race there, in the big traffic jam.
Nice and calmly through the first of the 2 hairpins towards the end of the lap, but going into the final one and really tightening it up at the top. It's Pincech, Ottaviani and Fiducci still leading nice and clean. Of course, the concertina effect really turned up to 11 on lap 1, as coming to a complete stop was Juan Manuel Gomez and Marvin Mackenberg there down at the final positions on the racetrack. Naturally, it's kind of what you expect, though, going into it. You have to be ready to literally, in a race car, come to a complete stop. Doesn't happen often, as Alessandro Ottaviani is on the attack right now. Look at how close he was to Pincech running into the final corner. Whoa, so wide from Gianmarco Fiducci as well. This is going to be a tense battle, I'm absolutely sure. They're not really battling for too much when it comes to championship position. Of course, there will be that up for grabs, but they're focused on the final race win of the season and ending on an absolute high.
I agree for Ottaviani, not for Pincech. Pincech can still get P2 in the championship. Oh, Ottaviani!
Here comes Fiducci, straight down the inside, already got there. Wasn't covered off from Ottaviani at all, was a little bit too deep there through Mandarin, and Fiducci's down the inside. Ottaviani didn't fight that one, spot that. Kind of lifted out of it, except that he wasn't going to go around the outside of Fiducci, who spots his braking zone with absolute perfection this time down into Lisboa. Now he's up into second position. The next one is not going to be as easy to pass.
Ottaviani was very lucky there that he didn't crash. Already lost the back of his car. You could try. This corner looks like you could try a move, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you done much racing around Macau?
Yeah, a bit. But on this corner, I never dared to try.
I've never raced Macau. I'm always been a bit terrified. Oh, a bit of a
lag for Vigneri.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
it's
and
going
Antonov.
side by side, Antonov and Pfeiffer. Wow, that would be a move. If Antonov can pull that one off there into the barrier once again, just ever so slightly, and look at that from behind. Florian Haase defending from Pliska as well. They say you can't make moves around the middle part of this racetrack, but these guys are absolutely trying it. Crazy, absolutely crazy to give that one a go. Fantastic stuff from Antonov to even think of making a move there on Pfeiffer. I don't think Pfeiffer would be particularly impressed, but this is exactly what we say about the way they dive, the way they attack, the way they go on the move. You see it there at the bottom of your screen. If positions stay as they are, and this could go also for a few positions back for Florian Haase, so he is pretty safe in this. As long as he finishes, as long as he reaches the checkered flag in a decent position like he is now, the title is Haase's.
What a crazy move from Antonov.
It really was. I would not have thought of that one myself, to throw one down the inside there. Look at it at the front though as we look backwards from Pinsesh. Fiduci's there. Fiduci's knocking big time at the door as he misses the apex slightly at the final corner of the race, final corner of the track rather, and Ottaviani also missed it himself, taking a little bit of a look. We know that Fiduci's party piece around this circuit is in this corner coming up here, same as we saw from Alexander Dorniden. Listen to that, a little bit of a lift there from Fiduci just to make sure that he's not too close to Pinsesh as we run through Mandarin.
Pinsesh drives this corner well though.
He really does. That was near perfect from the pair of them. Two drivers battling out at the peak of their powers. What can Pinsesh do? He holds to the inside and defends nicely from Fiduci. Fiduci looking, still not there, and I think he'll sit there comfortably now. He respects that he and Ottaviani get along. There's a lot of respect between the two of them. I don't think he'll be looking in his mirrors quite as much as he was against Kirill Antonov. He'll still be keeping his eye on him, making sure that his compatriot stays at bay. Right now things are looking a bit more comfortable and relaxed. He's got 20 minutes to try and work his way past Adam Pinsesh right now. I'm sure Ottaviani will give an attempt on him at some point in the near future.
He doesn't have to pass Pinsesh to finish second. Fiduci will finish second the way things stay. I think Pinsesh will pass Antonov though, if it stays like this. So Antonov is really the one who needs to gain some places.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Hasse with a mistake there. Killed the barrier a little bit. Does he really have to keep Pliska behind him?
It's what I was about to ask you. If you're Haase right now, you've got Pliska behind you, you know how fast Pliska is, you know he'll be frustrated sat behind you. What's the point in trying to hold him back?
Yeah, maybe he doesn't know that it's enough.
Maybe. Yeah, of course he's just trying to score as many points. That's it. I mean, I wouldn't really want Rasmus Salo behind me because the same sense I'm here as we both know with Rasmus Salo. Attacks just in a similar way to Antonov, just 100% all of the time.
Yeah, but I think Hasse could probably keep Salo behind him based on the pace, you know?
Yeah.
And with Pliska, it's kind of hard. Pliska will be right at the back of him all the time. But so far, nothing has happened. So far, of course, Hasse is doing the right thing.
I'm very much in your camp there. If I'm trying to win this championship, I'm taking as little risk as possible. I'm sure he might not know how comfortable things are at the moment, but even still, not wanting to risk anything past its worth, and still just sat there in front of Pliska. I wonder if he'll rotate that one at some point or just not fight it that hard. If we look backwards from Barna towards Kirill Antonov and Pfeiffer at the front once again, you can see on the timesheets it's very, very close, as there was Pinsesh through the first corner and already pulling it over to the left-hand side of the racetrack. Right-hand side of shot was Fiduci before we even get into Mandarin. These two are absolutely spot on once again through Mandarin down towards Lisboa. Is there going to be a move from Fiduci? He tried the outside before. He'll try it once more. Doesn't make it stick. Is potentially too deep though? Oh, he isn't too deep. I wondered if he was going to go and hit the barrier there. It was as close, as near as makes no difference. Going to go straight in. Fiduci nearly judged that well.
Yeah, but there's just no way through.
You have to really get that cutback perfect, beyond perfect. There has to be another level above perfect for you to get that cutback. We've seen it before But it takes such unbelievable judgment to be able to get down one of the narrowest parts of this racetrack as we ride on board with Antonov looking from the low angle. I mean, yes, he'll be worried in the sense of like if he's trying to grab third position in the championship, knowing how much Pinsesh is scoring right now, but look at that gap. You know, we're nearly 10 minutes into this race, 4 laps in the books. The gap's only 2.5 seconds to Pinsesh. And that means that every position he passes, there is opportunities. Let's take a look once again at the move from Pfeiffer and Antonov. Antonov just superb around the outside. There was a little bit of contact, yes, don't get me wrong. It's what we expect around this part of Macau, because we don't normally expect them to go side by side. But that was brilliant. Be a bit aggressive, but brilliant regardless.
And Antonov was almost trying again against Barner at the same time. Oh, once again hits him in the back. He has to watch out here. It's a yellow flag zone, of course.
Yeah, I don't think that one would do well for his trying to get third in the championship if he taps someone around at the hairpin. I think I would pretty much settle it in the considering it's a yellow flag zone. Once again, Fiduci's close. 10 minutes nearly down there, so I wonder if this one will go just for a 10-lap race, considering how close they are and how much they're going to be back. Look at this in the final corner, though, from Fiduci. Straight down the inside. That was majestic from the Italian, but he's going to have a slow drag out of the final corner down towards the first, but he might well just hang on to the inside. That was incredible aggression. I did not see that one coming, not in a month of Sundays.
No, but that's how you have to pass sometimes. Just surprise your rival. Fiduci certainly did that, but Pinsesh had it covered.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy moves in my time.
Oh, Rachel is getting into the fight now as well.
Once again, late defence there from Pinsesh, but it wasn't reactive. It was still proactive as he holds to the inside, keeping Fiduci at bay. Is he in deep this time at Lisboa? The answer to that question is no. Running down into turn 4. The Hungarian's going to hold off at the moment. The train behind's getting bigger and bigger. Vinieri, Barner, Antonov, Pfeiffer, all a part of this train now. We're building a gap to our championship leader and potentially champion-elect in 9th position, as here is Kirill Antonov once again going on the attack. Is he going to look to the inside? Is he going to make another crazy move in the central part of the racetrack? We'll have to keep our eye on him.
Yeah, and Barner was defending the left-hander. He was going a little bit to the middle of the road there because he was expecting something.
You've always got to expect something with Kirill Antonov. Again, it's why the order. Oh, into the barrier though from Barner. There we go, straight down the inside. There was a little bit of contact though, and Kirill Antonov's just come through. There's very little between him and Antonov. Once again, in the middle part of the racetrack, picks up yet another spot.
Crazy stuff there.
I get the aggression. I get, you know, it's maybe a step too far, but the audacity, the boldness to even try, to even think of trying, just shows the level of commitment that Kirill Antonov has in these touring car races. Just will throw absolutely everything at it. Knows how to rise up a grid. For anyone who's been watching the British touring cars last few years, it's kind of akin to the likes of Ash Sutton and that sort. When, you know, if there's a move to be made, he's making it.
Yeah, we thought he calmed down, you know? Like 2 rounds ago we were talking about it. That he, you know, looks much more, you know, calculated in his moves. Well, I guess these were all calculated as well. They all worked. Yeah. And I don't feel like Vinieri can hold on for very long against this Antonov here on the attack. But Barner is very close now as well, right behind him. And Barner and Antonov, they've gotten together a little bit already this season, so who knows? Front of the field's close as well. Just have to go there for a moment.
I was thinking that Antonov might have tried a move there going around the first corner. Here we go then through. Oh, into the barrier just a little bit there. I think might have been the Italian of Fiduci. Wasn't quite so. Managed to keep his foot in. Barner, and look at that. Barner is down the inside of Antonov in the background at the front of the field. Pinsesh is still going to be able to hang on right now. Just able to hold the race lead. Barner's back down the inside, and Antonov's nearly into the barrier. Look at how little room as well Pfeiffer left behind that. Was right the way over. Again, perfect judgment. You get that wrong by a couple mil, and you are into the barrier, and day will be written off there. Antonov, I don't think he'll be too thrilled at being passed by Barner, but it required a bold move from Antonov to get past Barner. and required another one back, but look at this into maternity. Looks down to the inside. You said there might be a move made into there. That time it was more of a look rather than a proper attempt.
This is one of the corners where contact is inevitable if you try to make a move, and Antonov just backed out of it. But yeah, Bana, not impressed by Antonov's moves, just getting him straight back. And that's bad news for Antonov in his fight for third position in the championship, because Pinsash is still leading.
Yeah, at least for now. Verducci's very, very close. We'll be keeping our eye on the time left and how many laps we're going to get in this race. Will we be going for 11 or will we?
Oh, Hasse with the mistake there.
Again, second time I've seen a mistake into that corner from Florian Hasse today. Oh, and a little bit wide there as well. Wakey, wakey, Sonny Jim. You want to win the championship, you've got to keep it out of the barrier. Hasse is still very, very good for this championship in his current position.
Yeah, but his pace is not looking strong here.
Do you think this is a bit of nerves? Do you think it's
maybe.
A little bit?
Because look how close Salo and Montgomery are still up. They are still so close to him. You would expect Hasse to pull a gap a little bit in such a situation, but he hasn't.
But could it be a little bit of just keeping out of the train ahead? Could it be just, I don't want to get involved in that, I want to sit by myself and keep a nice gap in front, just in case there's a crash that happens, that I can then move around in my own
Oh, that's
free will. Looking back
again.
to the inside once again. Verducci, final corner, looks for it. Could he be practicing for the final lap of the race? We'll have to wait and see as they cross the line. With the time left, we are going to be very close to it being a 10-lap race, potentially 11. And you can see there a huff even from Verducci there. I think he might even know that he's not quite close enough to really do anything meaty. Or he say that, look at how close he was there, going through Mandarin and once again into the barrier. That will halt his progress. You can't say he's not giving everything. Look in the background, by the way, Florian Hasse was under attack from Pliska, who's got to the outside going through Lisboa this time. Throwing it in, nearly into the barrier once again. I mean, he's definitely defending quite hard, is Florian Hasse.
That's a surprise. It's really a surprise.
It's potentially, we don't know how much or little Florian Hasse knows of the championship situation right now. It's potentially a little bit unnecessary. Not saying that it's bad, just that it's an unneeded risk.
Yeah, but Pliska has been super fair in this whole battle so far. Hasn't tried anything unnecessary.
If it was someone like Antonov, I would have pulled to one side and been like, no, after you, son. So yeah, just because that is a level of risk. That is an unnecessary risk. When you're driving with someone who you know is not going to take an insane risk with you, it's all well and good. Vinieri defending from Bana, defending from Antonov, defending from Pfeiffer as well. Just behind that. This all links up to the race lead though. Just 4 seconds separating the top 8 here at Macau. The final race of the CUPRA SimRacing Series of 2021. Pinsash, Verducci, Ottaviani, Raikkonen, Vinieri, who were on board with Bana, Antonov, Pfeiffer, Hasse, Pliska, your top 10 as Ben Supanek and I think that was Gilbert, or it might have been Gilbert and Wittfurt switched positions a bit further down the order as we go back to the race lead on the run down into the penultimate corner. Very close again is the Italian of Gianmarco Verducci. I think Pinsash might be a little bit too deep there, and this could be big for the Italian who gets back to the inside. He's made a move into the final corner before, and this time he's fully alongside. Will he be able to clear the Hungarian? He is fully past now, does nail the final corner, and heading on to potentially 3 laps to go. We'll have to wait and see as we cross the line once more here at Macau. Gianmarco Verducci could be on for this, but Pinsash will be coming straight back at him. He can't be looking into Mandarin.
He's bomb drafting him here.
Got to. You don't really have another option. You can't really make a move into Mandarin, as we saw from Gomez and Antonov. Oh, big hit. That'll be good for Verducci. Massive, massive moment there for Adam Pinsash. Behind you can see defensive driving from Ottaviani as Raikkonen was pretty close. That's it then. 7 minutes left on the clock. and it is Gianmarco Fiducci that leads here at Macau, looking for his final race off, for the final race win of the season, as Szoboszlai has had an incident in the background as he drops down the order. Look at that though from Max Pfeiffer, as Pfeiffer is trying to get past Anton Antonov's going to throw it in though, heading down into maternity, and is going to clear the corner, is going to hold the position. That was such a send from the Russian.
Made a mistake first, but he's just so committed. It will be so difficult to really pass him here, and Pfeiffer, well, B8's still a good position for him, but he must be annoyed there with Antonov.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a full send from Antonov in the defence department, as Gilbert defending from Wittfurt and Santa Guida as well. Noj not too far behind as well in this whole battle, as Juan Manuel Gomez has worked his way up from the back of the grid up towards 18th place and might well be closing in on this train before we reach the checkered flag in 6 minutes' time. Luciano Wittfurt trying to find a way through Gilbert right now. No options to get past the Frenchman. Well experienced, not only in sim but in real as well, from memory, if memory serves.
Yeah, so Gilbert participated already in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. But that's a different style of racing.
Quite, yeah. You can say that again. By the way, look at that gap that Gianmarco Fiducci has already in just one lap. I mean, you can actually kind of compare the circuit. Now, bear with me here because I'm not going completely insane. You can compare it to Bathurst, where you've got your long straights, and you've got that bit over the top of the mountain where you can really go on the attacks. What we're seeing here is Pinsesh is under attack once more, as Alessandro Ottaviani is going to pull the same move that Fiducci did, making it stick into the final corner of the racetrack. It's an Italian 1-2 here at Macau. Decent move there from Alessandro Ottaviani, but once again we'll have to defend it. I don't think Pinsesh will make the same mistake through Mandarin as he did a lap ago to afford Fiducci the lead that he has. Going through Mandarin now, let's listen in. It's perfect judgment there from both of them. Could not get closer to that wall if you tried. And Alessandro Ottaviani pulls them over to one side of the racetrack to defend the inside line going into Lisboa. Behind that, though, there is attack. Oh, it's in way too deep from Alessandro Ottaviani. That was insane, just as he was throwing it in so close to hanging on properly. He's still going to hang on to the position, but realistically speaking, that was pretty crazy.
Oh, and Antonov has passed Venieri, and he's about to pass Bana as well. And I think with these position changes, Antonov,
we're getting messy now. We're getting messy now, boys. Calm it down as Barna just manages to keep Antonov at bay. Vinieri also keeping Pfeiffer at bay. But this is getting messy as Antonov looks to the inside once again. He's made a position up there before in the recent past, as Barna's under a lot of pressure just now inside the top 5. There was also the same style of racing as well, of course, up into that section of the racetrack between Ottaviani, Pinsesh and Raikl. Important for Fiducci to have cleared off when he did, because he would definitely been a part of this battle, and he'll be desperate to try and make it an 11th lap so we can have another one running away at the front of the field as he tries to dominate the final race of the season. Barna, though, just being able to pull out a little bit of a gap there on Kirill Antonov. And now, once again, as it's all kind of come back together again, Florian Haas's in the danger zone a bit more, approaching the final moments of this race.
I think if it finishes like this, Pinsesh will lose third in the standings to Antonov by 1 point. So he really could have needed that position from Ottaviani, who hit the wall there.
Yeah,
but he's not looking close. And then Antonov, of course, passing Venieri at the same time. Just goes from bad to worse for Adam.
Pinsesh is not looking great. He didn't look, let's be honest with Pinsesh, this is no disrespect to him. Wasn't in the top 5 in either race last season. Wasn't looking particularly strong in qualifying. Wasn't looking particularly strong in race 1 either. Yes, he was leading an awful lot of this race. But once he's been passed, he has dropped backwards quite a lot. Look at the size of the gap that Fiduci's
2 minutes 30. I think that should be 2 more laps.
I think we should get 2 more laps here.
Maybe he's going to lift. Who knows? Or Rechel is about to make a move.
Well, I think Fiducci wants to do as many laps as possible, because the more laps he does, the more risk there is for Florian Haase. It's important for him to get that extra lap as Raikko's looking to the inside into Mandarin. That one's not going to work as... Whoa! That was a massive slide from Adam Pinsesh. Managed to keep it out of the barrier somehow. Someone needs to get a super slow-mo out for that one. That was brilliant driving from Adam Pinsesh, as once again on the defence. Florian Haas's just hanging on right now. He's doing every single thing that he needs to do right now if he wants to secure this title. Just keeping out of trouble, just driving around, avoiding the walls.
Back in the infield, and you just know which car we have to watch.
Is he going for anything though? The answer to that question is no, but you know, Kirill Antonov, I mean, hey, if we could, we'd rename this corner Antonov corner, because he loves trying to make a move into it. Brilliant stuff earlier in the race to even think of it on Pfeiffer, but that time by wasn't quite enough, wasn't quite close enough to Barna. Barna also wise to it as Pliska's close to the rear end of Haase, and I thought he was trying to make a move down into that corner as well. He was that close, but still no cigar for the Italian, as he'll have to sit behind in the position that he started this race 24 minutes ago. It has been a frustrating run from our race 1 winner, our 3-time race winner in the CUPRA SimRacing Series, but Pliska's just not able to find a way through. Shows how good Florian Haase's defence really is.
And this could be the last lap, of course. Who knows what Fiducci is gonna do. If he slows down, then he could definitely afford to slow down.
But championship again, I'd if he wants to win the championship, if he, not that he, yeah, he's doing everything that he can do, but if he wants any like extra risk, if he can just push it one extra lap, if he can just get that one extra one on the board, who knows what will happen behind Fiducci. Penultimate corner ticked off. We'll watch it. We'll keep our eye on the countdown.
But I mean, he gets the win, of course, if he just slows down a little bit here.
Absolutely. But I don't think he's the kind of driver that doubts his own ability.
Oh, this will be tight. 5, 4, 3.
It is
one more lap.
One more lap. There we go, and he's happy at that one as well. Gianmarco Fiducci gets to really, really enjoy this one at the front of the field. That was very, very close to do. I didn't think we were going to go for one more. Surely Fiducci's got to do that one final lap and make it yet another 11-lap race around Macau, as Adam Pinsesh still under pressure for 3rd position. Raikko's close, but they're both so good through Mandarin. Keep your eye on Raikko. Is he going to be able to make anything here? Defensive line, of course, from Pinsesh, but looking even further to the inside of the German of Raikko. Back out the outside. They're both going to the wall at this rate because they're going in so hot. Managed to judge that one perfectly. Finally, Pliska is through on Haase, who did not fight that one down into Lisboa. So the position up from the Italian. Now he has to get past his compatriot, but he's in a little bit too deep. And look at this. Gets past 2 corners later. And Florian Haase might well come straight back through. That must be frustrating beyond belief for the Italian.
Surprising to see Haase fighting so hard still at this stage of the race, but he certainly tries to get as many points as he possibly can in this race. Barna now all over the back of Rechel. Rechel and Pinsesh, probably the 2 best drivers this season who haven't won a race. I guess you could count in Pfeiffer as well.
Yeah, of course, Pfeiffer was very, very close to race wins in the past, but still no one. Again, yeah, say Adam Pinsesh yet to win a race in 2021, which is a bit of a shock, and he obviously will not be picking one up. It does look like a 3rd race victory has gone the way of Pliska. Looks like we're going to get another 3-time race winner in 2021 with Fiducci leading at the moment. Raikko defending hard from Barna. To be fair, Antonov's defending hard from Pfeiffer as well behind, and Florian Haase is still trying to keep Pliska at bay as we head into the hairpin. One final time, yellow flags out as a reminder, so there is going to be no passing here. You've got Rasmus Arlo and James Montgomery as well, with Ben Zupanek, who's very, very attacking himself. Penultimate corner ticked off from Gianmarco Fiducci. It may not have been the start to the evening that Gianmarco Fiducci wanted. Didn't have pole position when he felt maybe he should. Didn't have the race win. Had to actually drop out. Wasn't even on the podium in race number 1. But had to do the work in this race. Looks at the camera. I'd give yourself a round of applause for that one. Gianmarco Fiducci across the line to take his 3rd race win of the CUPRA SimRacing Series. Understand why he's a bit deflated, but 2nd in the championship will be his. Across the line, though, Florian Haase. I don't think we really need to look at the points now, Rob. Florian Haase crosses the line, your 2021 CUPRA SimRacing Series champion. Yes, it is provisional, but it's as near as makes no difference. All well and sorted. What a season it has been from the German.
Yeah, congratulations to Florian, well deserved, and also congratulations to all the other drivers here who were putting up a great fight. Fiducci trying everything, getting the win in the end, Pinsash fighting hard, Antonov passing 2 cars on the infield. Really everyone was trying, Bana with Antonov as well, everyone was trying here, but at the end no one could stop Florian Hasse, and he gets his second title on RaceRoom after the ADAC GT Masters Championship. He now is the CUPRA SimRacing Series champion 2021. Provisional, but yeah, looking very likely indeed, since he stayed out of trouble in the whole race.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doubting that one. Here's your provisional finish then. Provisional finishers, Gianmarco Fiducci and Alessandro Ottaviani, Adam Pinsesh on the podium for the final race of the season, with Reiko and Barner behind. Kirill Antonov, Pfeiffer, Vinieri up in there. Nice result from Vinieri once again. A decent round for him at Macau, as Florian Hasse takes 9th position to look to secure his championship challenge. Pliska got through, but then was immediately repassed, as behind that we've got Montgomery, Salo, Zupanek, Gibert and Vitford. Fantastic battle back there. Fantastic battles up and down the grid. Look at how close that was as well, between Gibert, between Vitford, Noj and Santa Guida. Literally half a second separating all of that. And that really is testament to the entire season. It shows how close it's been all the way through, not just at the front of the grid, Rob, but also down towards the back. It's always been manic in the CUPRA SimRacing Series, and 2021 really has added to that legacy once more. Hopefully we get to see more of this style of action, because it just really is crazy every single time we go racing. But as I said before, Fiducci gets to add himself onto the list of 3-time race winners this round, as did Pliska. Kirill Antonov has already been a 3-time race winner in the season before as well. It's kind of surprising then to think that despite all these 3-time race winners, despite Ottaviani, a 2-time race winner, Florian Hasse only won 2 races rather, and his second race win was only 1 round ago. He didn't have the most dominant display throughout the season, but you don't need to be a champion.
Yeah,
you just need to be consistent.
He was consistent, and I think we've got the results here as well, so let's show them. You can see it. Hasse wins it by 20 points in the end, so not so much. He lost a few points actually to Fiducci.
And again, very, very close up there. Really important to see that gap there between Pinsesh and Antonov. Of course, we were speaking of how close that gap was throughout that race. One position really did decide it between the two of them. Antonov got up enough and just managed to provisionally, that one is a provisional, especially considering the crazy action that we were seeing around here. Kirill Antonov provisionally with 3rd position in the 2021 CUPRA SimRacing Series. A driver though that we were focusing on potentially as a championship challenger throughout the season, especially with his 3 race wins and 5 overall. Again, reminder, he's 2nd on the all-time winners list, as Adam Pinsesh in 4th position. Barner in 5th, but there is still prize money up for everyone else in the top 10, as Alessandro Ottaviani, Reiko, Pliska, Pfeiffer and Bence Zupanek rounds out the top 10 in the championship challenge. But I think it's fairly fitting to have at least one position separated by just a single point. Just that it wasn't a championship lead, I'm okay with that, because Florian Hasse has been fantastic all season, as have all of our championship rivals. It was a thrilling fight from start to finish.
Yeah, and let's see if we can have a word with Florian now. Florian, can you hear me?
Yep.
Congratulations, you are the 2021 CUPRA SimRacing Series champion. How does it feel?
Yeah, thank you, Robert. Very good, very good. Was a very difficult race tonight, and I was really fighting with myself, because I did not have the good feeling I had yesterday in the car, and therefore I decided to back a bit off and go safe. Yeah.
In the first race, you were under a lot of pressure in the battle, especially by Gianmarco. Did you feel did you feel like you can hold it until the end, especially when you try to smooth around the outside?
To be honest, yes, because it's so hard on this track to follow, and you have to take a lot of risk to make sure to get an overlap into turn 3, I think it is. And yeah, I was going very slow over the whole course, but then was trying to go full throttle in the last sector, and then yeah, it was all I think it was, apart from this one lap, it was quite clear all the time, but in this corner, I think he was trying it a bit too much, and overshot the corner and hit the wall.
Then in the second race, of course, with the top 10 reverse grid, not the easiest position. How did it feel on the first lap, like 2nd and 3rd corner?
Yeah, I was praying in the first corner, because you have to go full throttle and have to hope no one is doing anything stupid there. And luckily I had Priska behind. He was also lifting in that corner. So after I got through it, I was mainly sure that I will win it here.
All right. Well, looking back at the season, what a season it's been. 2 victories, but pretty much consistent at the pace every time. So this is your last opportunity to say something to the other drivers, to the spectators. How was this season for you?
Yeah, it was a long season, but also a lot of fun. And I'm really glad to fight these great people. And yeah, I'm just happy to win it in the end.
Congratulations, Florian. Once again, you are the CUPRA SimRacing Series 2021 champion. And what a great race it was.
Thank you, Robert. Good night.
All right, Lewis. We're just trying to get a word in with the second place finisher as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be great to catch up with Gianmarco Fedicci again. Great to listen in to our drivers and hear their opinions throughout the race and see how things have unfolded throughout the championship, because it's been a long season, it's been a tough season, and to end on one of the hardest tracks you can visit. I mean, it's a tall order.
And here we have Gianmarco Fedicci, second place in the championship. Congratulations, Gianmarco, and what a spectacle you put up here for us in the final round.
I don't know if that was a good one, but for sure it was some very entertaining. I don't know if qualifying was showed as well, so I was already there putting some drifts as well in the last corner, ruining my quali.
We saw it in the qualifying session, and it looked like you were going for pole position. What happened there in the last corner?
I don't know. I was 3/10 under my best lap. I could easily go to the 27.3, even 2, because I had a very poor last corner in the second to last lap. But for some reason, my brain decided to, okay, let's break even later, and I almost spun, and that was it. But everything that came after was a result of me being super nervous and frustrated for the qualifying as well.
Yeah, you were in a very uncomfortable position, I would say, in the first race between Florian Hasse and Kirill Antonov. First, it looked like Antonov was going to get past you, and there were some very close calls.
Yeah, I didn't want to race Florian because I didn't need to, because I knew that the season was basically over. But I was very, very, very scared of Antonov behind me. I was very close to the incident limit at some point, so I was trying to put a move on Florian just because I wanted to, to get him between me and Kirill. And the last lap I was, I don't know, like brain failed like in qualifying, and error 404.
Well, it still ended on a good note though, with quite a spectacular race and some interesting overtaking attempts against Adam Pinsesh, and then in the end it worked out. So not the easiest track to pass, I would say, but you still made it.
Yeah, I knew that if I wanted to get P1, I couldn't do the same moves as I tried to do on Florian, because it just doesn't work. And so I tried some other places. I think that Adam had some issues with his wheel rotation, so in the hairpin it was very, very slow. So I knew that the last 2 corners were the only places I could overtake him, and I was happy that I got through.
Well, you ended the season on a win, so P2 in the championship, still a great result. What are your final thoughts on the season?
Saying that I'm not disappointed is it's not true, because I am. I have to improve for next year in qualifying, but I'm very happy because P2 is, vice champion, and I hope next year I will go up by just 1 spot.
All right, congratulations once again, and thank you, Gianmarco.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for your service. Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye. So back to Lewis.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, excellent to hear. Of course, understand that sometimes the seasons don't end the way you want to. You always want to fight for the championship until the final moment. Sometimes you don't get it, but to be fair, to end the season with a race victory, Rob, is always a bit of a high, regardless of how things have been. A reminder for those just jumping in as to how the championship provisional standings are. Of course, race stewards still need to take a look at whatever's happened through the races and make sure we get through that part of the round safely. Florian Haase, though, your champion at the moment provisionally. A fantastic drive from him. 20 points clear of the Italian of Gianmarco Fiduci. Don't suspect those positions will change, but great stuff from Florian Haase all season. Let's have a little bit of a recap over the season, though, because it's not been the clearest run for Dur Esports. They did take the first race victory of the season, if you remember correctly, with Moritz Lerner back then. But then after Lerner departed the championship, of course, the runner-up from 2020, eyes were on Florian Haase to step up, but it was all over the place. You had Ottaviani leading at one point, Fiduci up there, Kirill Antonov. When it comes to the end, though, the consistency of Florian Haase is what really made the difference, not just the pace.
Yeah, he's been truly at the front at every single track. I think at Monza was his weakest round, but there he was spun around in an incident. Very controversial incident that was. He wasn't always the fastest, but he was always there. And he kept his nose clean. We saw it at the Bilsterberg, we saw it here once again. He just didn't falter under the pressure, and I think, you know, he can be very proud of the season that he did here. But the same can be said about the other drivers. I mean, Pinsesh maybe didn't have the pace all season. He still was fighting for the title until the end. Antonov, really, really pushing hard, really going for the moves and really, you know, you could just see that he wanted it. You know, he wanted to go for every single position. And then Fiduci coming so close. There will be a couple of things where he will be kicking himself, you know, when he's looking back at the season, but still second place, his best championship finish ever on RaceRoom. Of course, his best championship finish in the CUPRA SimRacing Series. But yeah, there we have it. Florian Haase is our 2021 CUPRA SimRacing Series champion.
And so based on that, Rob, I'll ask for your opinion briefly before we wrap up as to drivers on the grid that you'd be eyeing up in future. You know, who's the big names that are of the future that haven't quite made it. Yeah, of course, we've got Fiduci in that. But what about the likes of Vermeulen and of Pliska as well?
I mean, Pliska, after this performance, he really looks like a potential champion in the next season. He's been really, really strong. He's won the pre-qualifier, I think, 4 times now, or at least 3 times at the end. So he had a very, very impressive end of the season. And he doesn't have as much experience as the other drivers, so it seems like he's still gaining pace. So he's one to watch. I think Max Pfeiffer is another one to watch because he's driving in the Hasse style. You know, he's not aggressive in the battles. He knows when to, you know, when not to go for a move, when to be a little bit more passive. And he really has established as a top 10 driver at the end. So that's another one. Then we had Michael Rechel, of course, coming back after his injury, which saw him sidelined for almost a year. He had a good performance, didn't get a win, but, you know, he showed a lot of potential. And when you can see the likes of Vinieri, for example, of Montgomery, towards the end of the season, Vermeulen as well, they're getting closer as well. If I have to pick one, I guess I would pick Petr Pliska, but that's not a hard choice after this event here in Macau.
Yeah, absolutely. There's plenty of potential on the grid, which we'll all have to keep our eye on 2022 and on the future horizon past that point. It really is, though, time for us to say goodbye. I will let Rob say the goodbye, though, very fittingly. But before that, I think it's typical for us to give every one of you a goodbye sat at home, but I think this time is a little bit different because for years, of course, Rob has worked for RaceRoom and has afforded like drivers the opportunity to race, has afforded people like myself the opportunity to commentate, and plenty of other opportunities across the board. And I know this isn't Rob's last broadcast. We'll be able to catch up with him in a couple of weeks' time on some official ranked RaceRoom races with James, but it really is a bit of a goodbye from me, Rob, and it's been a pleasure working with you the last few years. I'm sure it won't be the last time we're meeting, but still, it is a sad moment. I think everyone watching should wish you a very warm goodbye and good luck for the future.
Yeah, thank you. It was a wild ride with the esports. 5 years. We had a lot of seasons, you know, WTCR, CUPRA SimRacing Series, DTM, ADAC, a lot of events in Malaysia, in Sweden, in Germany, and a lot of streams, a lot of races. I want to thank everyone who participated in the races. Doesn't matter if it's server 1, server 6. You know, I want to thank everyone who commentated the races with me, and of course everyone who watched it. It was a great fun, and yeah, this was the last eSport race that I did, and I'm glad we had a great race here, and we could end it on a high note. And yeah, we still have one race coming up, 24th of November, also in Macau from the ranked. So that's something you should definitely watch. There will be once again with James Kirk, who some of you might also know from the WTCR. But yeah, this road ends here with the CUPRA SimRacing Series, at least for me. And very much hope that there will be a next season though, and I can watch it, or maybe I can take part in it.
Well, thank you very much, Rob. And again, thank you all for joining us over the season. Also, thanks to Christo, who's been doing our points as well to keep us fully up to date. We'll see you again shortly indeed. And of course, again, rejoin us on the 24th of November when you can see that race around here at Macau. But until then, it is very much a goodbye from us. Thank you, and see you around. They take to the start here for the very first time. Looking down the inside of Jack Keefe as well, a touch of contact between the two. Still rubbing wheel to wheel. What a move! Fantastic stuff.